Hey guys, Steve here with this edition of the Poker Video Newsletter. And this is truly a video newsletter because this is a hand I just recorded last week. I was in Vegas. This is a session I played over the Wynn where I ended up about 250 after about 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours. Fortunately, this guy up here in the white shirt was drunk and he was playing kind of crazy near the end. And he got me on a different hand where I had pocket kings, and because of my image, I was getting a lot of action on my big hands. And I had pocket kings. I got him all in pre-flop. He had about 250. He just had ace queen off, and you know, kings are ace magnets. So he of course spiked an ace and won a $500 pot off me. So I would have won 750 in those 2.5, 3 hours. But instead I won about 250, which, oh well. But I had to get to dinner. I was starving. So anywho, let's get into the hand, and you're going to hear some of the table talk here. I am under the gun. I've got Poker Scope pulled up here. So this is going to show visually what the hand is, what's going on in the hand. And I'll play the audio so you hear it. So I've got 7-9 suited under the gun. And as I have preached to you guys in Control Chaos, totally cool to limp here under the gun. We don't want to expose ourselves too much to a 3-bet with this kind of hand out of position. So we're okay to limp here. And if someone raises, there's bound to be multiple callers. So that's what we're kind of banking on if someone does raise. And sure enough, the guy over here in the sunglasses does raise to 15. Some pretty funny table talks. There's a guy from Florida talking about iguanas freezing and falling out of trees. So the other players after sunglasses here fold. I make the call. I love this hand post flop for sure. Old guy, my left calls. Tricky guy on his left calls. So we're forehanded going to the flop. Still talking about the iguanas. All right, so here's our flop, and I'll show you visually what this looks like. So I limp, low jack raises to 15, fold, fold, fold. I call, 3 other callers. So here's our flop. So I flop a double gutter, backdoor flush draw. There's obviously a heart flush draw out there, but this is not a super, it's pretty good action so far at this table, but nobody's super tricky. The guy in the sunglasses is pretty good. The guy in his left's pretty good. The guy over here in the 1 seat on his right is probably the strongest other player at the table. So that should all just factor in, but this is where we're at. So what I do is I've got a double gutter, right? A 4 or an 8 makes me the nuts. So I'm happy to continue here as long as it's a pretty reasonable bet. And it's not ideal to draw to a straight when there's a flush draw on the board. But again, these games just in 1-3 live poker typically play so soft that you can get away with this. And if I spike my hand on the turn, I can probably win a big pot against a flush draw most of the time, or 2-pair kind of a hand, or even a set. So here's what happens. We'll play the action out here. It checks actually to the raiser, the pre-flop raiser. So I check. Old man checks, tricky guy checks. Sunglasses bets pretty quick, so that's a tell as well. When someone bets that quickly, it's usually not a sign that they're super strong. It's a hand that maybe isn't made yet, or it's kind of a binary decision for them. They're just kind of, it's an on or off switch. Like, oh, I bet? Okay, I'm just going to bet. And he just bets 20 here into 64. So obviously we're calling here all day long. Nothing to do. If we had a flush draw to go with our double gutter here, we could check raise for sure. But with 3 other players in the hand, we don't want to check raise. Plus, we're out of position. We don't love that. We can do it sometimes, but not against this many opponents, because we might be up against a flush draw. Everybody calls, and we get to the turn. So here's the turn. So I check, check, check. Pre-flop raiser bets 20, and we all call. So now there's 144 in there. So the heart comes in. So a 4 makes a straight now, obviously, and a flush got there. So, you know, I don't love it right now, but everybody checks around. So what does that tell us? Somebody could certainly be sitting on a straight, and they don't love the flush card, so they're just trying to get to showdown cheaply, right? If anybody had a set, we would have definitely heard from them by now. They would have bet pretty big or check raised on the flop, because it's a very wet dynamic board. If you look at it on the flop, there's so many cards. Somebody could already have a straight, but lots of people could be drawing to a straight or a flush. So if you have a set on this flop, you're raising, checking, check raising, or betting big at some point. because you want to get some money in there while you've got a very strong hand and you want to charge the draws, right? Flush draws and straight draws. But nobody did that. And then it checks around on the turn. So what I think is probably most likely here, combo draws of a pair and a draw. Some people might have like a big heart and like a 7, like an ace 7 off with the ace of hearts. Just dumb hands like that that people are going to show up with here. So when it checks around, though, I don't think anybody's very strong. I don't know if either of these players would be going for a check raise here. I think they know this guy's smart enough that he knows he needs to bet with he makes his flush here on the turn. This guy is probably checking behind unless he makes a big flush here. And this old guy is just going to play pretty tight conservative, and I think he would have bombed and bet out big here on the turn if he had a flush. But it checks around, so I don't think anybody's that strong. Nobody really likes this right now. And there's the river, which is a 3 of clubs, and that pairs the board. So now we have a boat out there. So I don't think anybody has a flush. I think it's probably likely somebody has a straight, but they're not nuts about it. And now they're up against a potential boat and a flush. So if you have a 4 on this board, you don't love it if somebody bets into you, right? So that's exactly what I did because everybody was showing weakness. And in retrospect, I should have probably bet bigger, probably more like 100, but 75 here, I think gets the job done. So that's what I end up betting. So I bet 75. You can see the sunglasses guy's kind of looking away already. He's just already kind of hemming and hawing. 2 guys on my left fold pretty quickly. And now he's tanking. So Sunglasses just said he's got to have it. He's got to have it. I don't like that the drunk guy here is chiming in. He's like, yeah, he's got to have it. He needs to stay out of the hand, obviously, but he's drunk and he's giving his money away, so I'm not going to really say anything yet. But this guy says, smells like a boat, is what I believe he said. He said it's a boat or a flush, and the drunk guy goes, it's either one of the it's one of those, or it's got to be one of those. So I've got the whole table convinced because I'm betting into 3 other players here in this spot that I've got a boat or a flush. He says, oh, I have the straight. This guy again needs to shut up. You shouldn't be involved like that. But you don't love the spot if you're him. And I kind of picked up that he seems to be, you hear that? I believe you, sir. And he flips over his hand and shows it. Okay, so I told a friendly little fib there and told him that I had a boat. Now I could have shown the bluff, right? But I don't think, given where we were at with this table, it's still pretty early. I don't want to piss anybody off. I have a good, strong, aggressive image, and I've shown some value hands, and I've won a lot of pots with pure aggression. So I don't want to blow that image yet. I want to get caught bluffing and then switch gears to tightening up. So I haven't been playing tight. I've been playing very aggressive, but I've been getting away with it. And here, for visual, I'll show you what this looks like. So I bet out 75, half pot, and everybody folds. And that's what he showed. I'm pretty sure I zoomed in on the video to kind of see what he showed. Pretty sure it was ace 4 clubs is what he had raised to 15 with pre-flop. So he flopped an up and down straight draw. He turns it, but he hates that there's a heart there. There's also, of course, better straights out there. And then when the board pairs, he hates that I bet into him because, again, there's boats, there's flushes, there's better straights. And even though 75 isn't a big bet into 144 on the river, I wanted to make it look like I was trying to get value out of a straight. I could have bet 100, might have been a little bit more ideal, more pressure, but that also could have looked a little more bluffy. But in retrospect, I don't think he was a super advanced player. I think he's just kind of a local regular kind of, ho-hum tight aggressive, but he mixes it up here and there and raises with hands like ace-4 clubs and all that. But I think post-flop, he's not that sophisticated. So that's why I let out like I did there, out of position, because people showed weakness. And wow, if I'm betting into 3 people on the river, I must have it, right? So this was just a fun hand I wanted to share with you guys. I definitely played off this image really well. I got this $500 stack up to about almost $1,300 before drunk guy over here got it all in with ace queen off and beat my kings, of course. But then I had to call it a session, went to dinner. But yeah, thought I'd share this one with you. It was a really fun hand. It shows a few different principles of controlled chaos, the importance of table image, of character mapping, understanding who you're playing against, what it means when people react on a scary board like this. And a lot of people are just going to shut down and only go forward with the nuts in the spot at small stakes, which, as we just showed, you don't need to have the nuts if you've got a good read on the other players with character mapping. You've got a great table image because you've been using controlled chaos to bet aggressively, to 3-bet, and just be an aggressive player in every pot. And you see the reward. Here we win a nice pot, continue to build our strong winning image, and we continue to cash in on this for the next hour and a half, 2 hours that we're at the table. So hope you guys found that helpful. As always, if you have hands you run into at the casino, in your home game, whatever, shoot me an email, and I'll do my best to get them into our poker video newsletter series. All right, guys, good luck at the tables.